We now go to women's MMA. It's in the flyweight division at 125. This one's going to be a lot of fun. It's presented by Chips Transmissions. It is Shay Holland from Douglasville, Georgia, from that great Knuckle Up Fitness Camp, taking on Emily Andzulis, her debut out of Shield Systems right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Our next bout live at FullCombat.com. The Valor Fights 47. Introduce fighters. Here's Jennifer.
Our next bout of the evening is an amateur women's mixed martial arts bout in the flyweight division, contested at 125 pounds. Brought to you by Chips Transmissions. First, please welcome to the cage, Shay Holland.
Our next scheduled bout is Shay Holland against Emily Andzulis. And let's talk about the matchup, Casey. Let's start out with Shay Holland. Your thoughts on Holland?
You know, she is 0-1, but you can't be deceived by that. That was a decision loss, a hard-fought decision loss. And, you know, heading into your first bout, you know, that is always the toughest bout. You know, you got to deal with the nerves of being a debut fighter and so forth. But she did persevere and go the distance in that fight, and it was a good fight. Now, Doug, I think you might have seen some of that action.
Yeah, I was there when that fight happened down in Atlanta. It was a tough fight. It was a back and forth, but, you know, she hung in there, but she was just outstriked.
Okay. Well, of course, she faces Emily Andzulis, who is highly touted out of Shield System, but is a debut as well. And she's coming into her first fight tonight, which, you know, we're very excited about. She's got a huge fan base here.
Yeah, and the great camp. And whenever you have a fighter from Shield Systems, they're not going to put out a fighter if they're not ready to go. And they're going to wait. And we've already seen her teammate Silas Reynolds with a first-round victory earlier tonight. So you know Andzulis is going to be prepared and ready.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And again, she's one of those. I mean, you can tell she's fit. You know, big arms, and she has that physique that looks like a mixed martial arts fighter at the top tier. And you know she's going to be in condition. That being said, Shay Holland, she is highly touted. You know, you can't take anything away, and she is coming into hostile territory with Andzulis being so popular here in the Knoxville region. You cannot overlook Shay Holland.
Shay Holland, as Doug and Casey were talking about it earlier, the loss in her debut, that was to Charlesie Manor at NFC 102 in Georgia, unanimous decision loss. But Holland, the one fight experience advantage over Andzulis. And when we went to put this up for the picks panel on the Valor Hour on Radio Influence, everyone went with Andzulis, and I think it might have been the fallback of the camp, the Shield Systems, with Andzulis.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, you know, it's home territory for her. She's got a huge support. Shay Holland brought a pretty big fan base as well, all the way from Georgia. I'm just excited for this matchup.
Holland's in the cage. Back to Jennifer.
And her opponent making her way to the cage, please welcome Emily Andzulis.
How about that reaction for Emily Andzulis? Big crowd here for the debut of the Shield Systems product. Fan base is here for the 25-year-old.
Yes, undoubtedly. Now, I'll say this, man. You know, we're going to have contrasting looks here because you've got the very stout and compact Emily Andzulis, and you've got Shay Holland, who is very long. Look how long her arms is, very tall and long. So you got to look for her to use that range. We're going to see Andzulis going to be like a little pocket full of dynamite, and so I always love that.
Take a look at the tail of the tape in this women's flyweight bout presented by Chips Transmissions. Two young fighters, Andzulis 4 years younger than Holland. You see the height advantage. Holland 7 inches taller. And then the arm length will be quite a difference between the two fighters as well. Holland has the one fight, and Andzulis making her debut. Holland weighed in at 126, Andzulis at 124. Tail the tape in this exciting bout. This should be a lot of fun. Contrasting styles. You got hometown versus the outsider coming in, and two great camps from different parts of the area.
Yeah, and we're also kicking off a big night of women's MMA here at Valor Fights 47. And I will say this, these ladies, they, of course they have to persevere in everyday life, but to come into a sport dominated primarily by men and to put on the showing, they always overachieve. They come in to really prove they're on point, and I'm sure that's going to be the case here.
And for Andzulis, people that know the Shield Systems camp know of Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman, but to have Amy Coleman, the Invicta product, and of course the Valor Fights vet, it's such a big advantage to have someone of that caliber.
Undoubtedly, and of course that black belt in judo is nothing to scoff at. Amy Coleman has thrown, many a big, strong man on their head.
The reaction for Andzulis in the cage. All right, fighter introductions. Here's Jennifer.
This bout is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds. First, fighting out of the red corner, she weighed in at 126 pounds, holds a record of 0 wins with 1 loss, and fights out of Knuckle Up Fitness in Douglasville, Georgia, Shay Holland. And her opponent across the cage to my left, fighting out of the blue corner, she weighed in at 124 pounds, fights out of Shield Systems in Knoxville, Tennessee. And tonight she is making her mixed martial arts debut, Emily Andzulis. Your referee when the match begins is Jimmy Neely.
Jimmy Neely, our referee, in this flyweight women's MMA amateur bout. Chips Transmission sponsoring it. Shay Holland in the all black with the black gloves. Emily Andzulis, short black with the white gloves, and we are underway. 3 3-minute rounds here in Knoxville.
There you see Emily Andzulis closing the distance quickly. She's got to watch out for that guillotine, though.
Defense there by Andzulis.
And I will say that it was the wise move to close the distance, though. Shay Holland with so much reach.
And you see the physique difference between the two. Very different in the way they're put together.
Oh, here we go. Andzulis seems to be getting through. Look at that. Completes a very unorthodox takedown. So much fun to watch.
That was a merry-go-round. Goodness. Doug, what have you seen early on?
Shay looks to have some strength on her. She's deceptively strong for her build from what I'm looking at. But, let's see what she does inside this guard right here.
Here you see it. Emily Andzulis wrapping up what appears to be the start of a rubber guard, really high there above the head of Shay Holland. Shay Holland postured up very, very well. You see that both of these athletes know their postures in the realm of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Really active from the bottom. A lot of hand fighting and posturing here.
Okay, the guard opens up. Shay Holland makes separation. Now she's going to draw Andzulis back into the striking range.
It's interesting. The corner had told Holland to punch her in the face. Instead, Holland separated and let her get up. Let her get up.
Well, I'll say this. Emily Andzulis closed the distance. She wanted it on the ground. If Shay Holland can have it her way, then I think that may be the best way for her.
Andzulis closes the distance again.
Again, Shay Holland looking for that guillotine. I will say this, look at Andzulis, her face a little bit flush. You know, that's 2 takedowns she's been unable to achieve and get on top. You've got to wonder if she's, with it being her first fight, could she get gassed here, pushing so hard and not being able to attain the position that she wants.
Look at the size difference between the two. And that doesn't even take the long arms into consideration.
You see Shay Holland, she's very composed. You can tell she's relaxed.
Again, Andzulis shoots in.
Oh, here we go. Now looking to lock up that guillotine.
Final seconds of round 1.
Oh, here we go. Again, looking for it. Andzulis pulls guard in the closing moments.
A little nervousness in the building. A lot of Emily fans. Doug, how would you score that first round?
I got the first round for Shay Holland. More control. She was on top for a little bit. It seems like Andzulis keeps trying to push that spinning-like takedown when she's really out of position when she's trying to get the takedown, and she's leaving her head dangerously low when she's trying to come in on her shots.
Casey, what do you think? Actually, take us through this replay first.
Well, there it is. You see Shay Holland keeping that front face lock, landing a few shots, but there's that spiral takedown. But in the end, it was Shay Holland that ended up on top. Everything Andzulis attempted here was thwarted by Shay Holland, and then Shay Holland landed a few shots there of her own. She got on top. She controlled the posture really well. I agree with Doug. I give this first round to Shay Holland. Emily Andzulis, if she wants it on the ground, she's going to have to set up that takedown, land some shots, at least throw those hands so that Shay Holland doesn't see it coming.
A couple of side kicks, I think, ended up getting Andzulis sort of in a tougher spot for a takedown, because then Holland would just sort of stuff her. So we'll see if maybe Andzulis has a different look. And there's that side kick again, answered by Holland.
Now that being said, Shay Holland, I think she would be better suited on the feet to keep a little bit of distance too. She kind of closes the distance and is kind of stifling that tremendous reach advantage that she has, and that's a tremendous gift to be able to utilize here. You better watch out. It looks like that Andzulis is looking for an arm bar here. She may have that locked up.
Long arms, though.
Yeah, and Andzulis, it seems that she's postured down. And I think that if I were Shay Holland, I would just keep hold on that arm rather than trying to strike here.
Doug, what do you want to see from Holland here? Well, she gets out.
She was wise to stand back up, but she could have stayed down. She actually pulled her elbow out, and then she stood back up. So I think on the ground, she just needs to be patient on top.
Oh, here we go. Big shots there by Shay Holland, starting to open up. Again, forcing a lazy shot by Andzulis.
That sequence started by a kick-punch combo by Holland. Doug?
Shay's hunting that guillotine. She's really hunting that choke, so Andzulis has to be very careful about putting her head down.
Flattening Andzulis out as we near the midway point of round number 2, scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the flyweight division.
And I will say that Andzulis, you know, that would be the second or third time that she's attempted that takedown, ended up on bottom, and it may be that she feels comfortable from the guard, you know, that she's got good submissions and she can attack. But I will say this, if you don't complete the submission, it's very, very difficult for you to win from the bottom. And you can see, again, the face flush of Emily Andzulis. That's a cortisol drop. That's your adrenaline going crazy, and she's going to have to get her breathing right in order to come back from something like that, because it can absolutely paralyze you.
And Holland, for the first time, raining down shots from this position.
Holland has pretty long arms, like Casey stated earlier, so this is a good position for her to be on top and posture up tall and punch down, which she's doing, and she's landing shots.
Stepped over on the right leg of Andzulis. Corner wants Holland to let her hands go.
Nice shot there, big right hand.
Well, this is tough for Andzulis, though. Hands urging Emily on. And she could very well be down 2 rounds to none as we're in the final seconds of round 2.
And I will say this, there's not much with this half guard of Emily Andzulis. She's in the position, but really when you're turned to the opposite side, it makes it difficult for you to do anything but hold on. In my estimation, Emily Andzulis down 2 rounds.
Doug, you agree?
Yeah, she's down 2 rounds. Got a half guard position on top that Shay's in. She should just stay there. A lot of people don't realize that that's a good position just to rain down blows from the half guard. You actually don't have to pass into a side control position. You could just stay in half guard and just punch down.
And often, really, the half guard, where a lot of fighters are looking to stand up from the bottom position, that kind of stifles that attack. So it keeps them right where you want them, and then you can, like you said, can unload. So I totally agree with that. Shay Holland looking excellent here tonight and performing well. Of course, props to Andzulis, who has come to fight, but it's been Shay Holland's night thus far.
Yeah, Knuckle Up Fitness, Douglasville, Georgia, some terrific fighters from there. You see our ring girls, Chelsea and Sarah, here tonight at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum. Really exciting for many of these fighters to fight in this historic arena in downtown Knoxville. And Emily Andzulis has brought a big crowd. Shay Holland has some support as well. Third round, scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds. Women's flyweight division, presented by Chips Transmissions, and we're underway. Holland on the right, Andzulis on the left.
Nice leg kick.
Corner wanted Andzulis to move forward, but she just lowered her head. Got her neck taken.
She's defending the choke, though.
You mentioned earlier, Doug, that she was kind of hunting the neck.
And it's going to be difficult to defend that choke with your backside against the cage. And that's one thing, once you start to create that pressure, and I think that's what Shay Holland is attempting to do, it makes it more difficult for Andzulis to bridge, and you see her dropping there to relieve some of that pressure. Shay Holland punching her throughout that process.
Minute gone by in the third and final round, but it hasn't gone much better for Emily Andzulis to this point. Holland would love to get the finish here now. His neck is out.
Is that posture nice punch?
Oh, there we go, looking for the single leg. Emily Andzulis reverses, but then reversed again by Shay Holland.
Nice roll through.
Both of these ladies very early in their career. I think as the years progress, the months of the years progress, we're gonna see a lot out of both of them, regardless of who wins tonight.
Fans on Tapology had Emily Andzulis as the favorite as well. Right now, it's been all Shay Holland to this point with a minute left in this fight.
Shay Holland has to be careful about leaving her arm on the inside like that.
There it is.
See, Andzulis angling for that arm bar.
Holland's out.
Those short legs.
Short legs make it easier to sub from the bottom or harder?
It depends on if the guard is high or low.
Right. Andzulis got to make something happen here late. And right now, from that distance, not going to happen.
Oh, big shot there by Shay Holland.
Holland just stalking.
Oh, big right hand there again by Shay Holland.
Holland can ride this out on her feet.
Oh, and here we go. Andzulis comes alive here in the closing moments. And a slam from Shay Holland to close things out.
Nice show of sportsmanship by Holland to help Andzulis out. They hug out. Doug, what do you think of Shay Holland tonight?
Shay Holland looked like she improved from her last fight from NFC 102. She looked like she improved. Stayed calm and relaxed for the most part. So, I gave all 3 rounds to Shay Holland.
Emily Andzulis, so certainly a learning experience in her debut out of Shield Systems in Knoxville. It's just a tough matchup with the length of Holland. Casey, take us to this replay here.
Well, there you see it, that half guard position we talked about earlier. Shay Holland postured up well. I think that was towards the end of the second round, raining down the strikes, and Andzulis unable to do anything. You see her hips, she was turned away from Holland. That prevents her from doing any kind of counter and trying to get back to her base. So, props to Shay Holland for putting it in her range exactly the way she wanted to and getting the job done, or so we assume.
And the first of numerous really what looked to be entertaining and high-level women's MMA bouts tonight, Casey. We're gonna see a couple of more just fantastic matchups here tonight.
Undoubtedly, and we're going to see the Shield systems back in action again. Of course, Yinsi Alcantara and Fotini Kandris in the amateur co-main event, just 2 fights away.
Shamir Peshewa from the KMA8 camp will be in action, taking on Natalie King with her boxing background. That's to come, as well as a lot of men's both amateur and professional MMA here at Valor Fights 47 in downtown Knoxville at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum. We're live at flowcombat.com. I am Vince Ferrara alongside Casey Oxendine and Doug Usher here cage side at what will be the first of many great events with Valor Fights in 2018, and we're continuing to raise the bar. Next event will be Border Wars 2 at the Corbin Arena in Corbin, Kentucky. Going into enemy territory again, Casey.
I know. Are you ready to be back up there in the Corbin Arena, man? That place was electric last time.
It was, and that will be February 17th, by the way, so be prepared for that. And you can keep track of upcoming events and everything we got going on social media, Valor Fights, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and get on our YouTube channel as well. All right, we go to the judges' scorecards, to the cage. Here's Jennifer.
After 3 hard-fought rounds, we go to your judges' scorecard for decision. Judge Kubik scores this bout 30-27. Judge Watson 30-27, and Judge Doran 29-28. All in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. Out of the red corner, Shay Holland.